Welcome to Megapath Presents. I'm Ronnie Hayes. Today, let's talk about Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 5, The Door. I adored this episode. I loved it so much. I think there was some parts in the beginning that kind of held it back a little bit, but by the end of the episode, it was a punch you in the gut, kick you in the ball sack, one hell of an experience. It was pretty sad, too. I want to talk about the ending right away, but let's back it up. We'll finish with the ending, and let's talk about Arya. What I was talking about in the beginning about some of it feeling like it was a little restraint, a little off. I felt like we were here already with Arya, where in the previous episode she was sparring with the girl and holding her own, and I think she even got a hit in, and I just feel like now we're backtracking, now she's getting her ass whooped. I think the play later on did a better job at showing that Arya's not ready to move on yet and forget about who she was and her family and everything, excel past that, because they do the play where they're making fun of the Lannisters, and then they're making fun of her father, and that's where she goes from laughing to looking pissed off. So I think they're doing a really good job making Arya's story exciting and interesting, and I'm very much excited for what's to come, because I can't really pinpoint yet where they're going to take her story, but I'm excited for it. I just feel like some of it might be getting a little frustrating, and it's like, come on already. Just a little bit. Alright, moving on to Sansa. I love her. I think Sansa went from being like at a 1 to 10 scale. Previous seasons, she was probably like a 2, maybe a 3. In interest level, I thought she was a bitch in the beginning of the season, but now I am rooting for her big time. And I'm like, don't trust Littlefinger, whoop-de-whoop. And I do know the showrunner said that because she lied to Jon, Littlefinger still kind of has this hold on her. And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, no, stop trusting Littlefinger. Just have the little dick killed. I mean, get it over with. You're better off without him. But they did add a little pro here. Part of her is thinking strategic, thinking more like Littlefinger, thinking the long game, where she's like, you know what? I could have Brienne just cut him down right now, but he might be of some use to me alive later on, so I do respect that. And I think one awesome thing with Sansa is something that happens with certain characters in certain series, where they go and transform in a certain way, where if you go back and rewatch season 1 now, season 2, 3, 4, now you look at the character a little differently. When they have a big transformation and you go back and rewatch the older episodes and they act so different, you're viewing it in a refreshing way. And I think Sansa's character is very similar, or at least getting there. In another season or two, it'll be like night and day when you rewatch it. It'll give you a whole new experience, I feel, watching that character when you rewatch the episodes. Now let's talk a little bit about the Drowned God. What is his name? Euron? Something? Yeah, so he shows up like a dick, wearing a sissy-ass crown. I don't know what that crown is. He stood up. They made it like this epic moment, and he stood up, and I was kind of like, wow, that shit was epic. I mean, you drowned like salt water and died and shit, and then they brought you back, and then they put this pretty lame crown on you. Theon and his sister ran, and I think it was awesome that, you know, his sis now knows that he admitted in front of everybody, you know, he puts in his faith in her leadership. So I felt like that healed their relationship as brother and sister a lot. And they ran off, and not being a book reader, I have no clue where they're running off to, so I'm not even going to pretend like I know. But I am interested in this new character now. Their uncle, I'm real curious to see how well his plan plays out, where he's going to go across the sea, seduce her with their ships, because as we all know, that's what she's been wanting since season 1. She's been wanting ships, steel horses or whatever they call them, to get over to Westeros. So I think that was awesome. Daenerys, finally, I've been bitching a little bit that she got taken out of her story, and her story, which is not interesting, and Tyrion's in here now. Now I take it back because I like her story. I like the moment she had here. She has the Dothraki army behind her, and she's talking to Jorah Mormont. He saved her. That's his mission. And he has that grayscale or whatever, and he's like, listen, I gotta go, I'm out. At the moment, in my opinion, he's saying, like, I'm going to die. I did what I needed to do for you. I love you. You know, I have always loved you. I did my mission, and I'm out of here. You know, have a nice life. Best of luck to you. The actress really stepped it up right now. I think she did a tremendous job in that little bit that she had, that emotional bit. And when she steps up and tells him, you know, I'm your queen, you vowed to listen to my command or whatever, whoop-de-whoop. When she commands him to go out and find the cure and fight, and get better and come back to her. I feel like regardless of whether or not he does that, I feel like that was her giving him the only thing she can at that moment, which was this added boost in his spirit to not give up, to listen to his queen and go find a cure. Yeah, I love the entire scene. I loved it all between those two. I thought that was pretty cool, and I really, really want to see more of him, so I hope he doesn't, turn into one of those rock beast things. And now let's move on to the Children of the Forest and the White Walkers. Again, for the 100th time, I am not a book reader, so when I'm watching the show, I was like, holy shit. I didn't know if this was a big reveal for just me, because I'm so stunted on knowledge on Game of Thrones, or if this was a big reveal for a lot of people that the Children of the Forest created the White Walkers to protect them from man. I was like, oh shit, that is epic. I think we got a lot of epic information in this episode, and I think that's why I loved it so much. Not only that, but while they were turning the first man into a White Walker, that's what I got out of it, we saw the formations. Now the formations is something we were seeing the entire time throughout the seasons when we saw the White Walkers in season 1 with the bodies, and then there's animals, I think, later on. When you watch this episode and it does that top-down view of the tree, you can see this spiral, so to speak, and that's what they did previously. And when the showrunners talked about that, I thought that was awesome. I love how they put that together. And then we get to one of the best moments. Now you have Bran getting seen by the White Walker, and for whatever reason, how this magic makes them be able to come to this area now. And I was shocked how they got there that fast. I was just like, whoa, really? That was pretty quick. So the White Walkers get to where they're at. Bran is back in time doing whatever they're doing, and Hodor's there. And I thought, this is the moment. I'm like, we're going to see this. If the White Walkers are here, we are going to see this, where Hodor loses his ability to speak. And then these children of the forest start using rock bombs. I was like, holy shit, okay. And you guys know, magic is not my thing. I'm not into it at all. But the rock bombs was badass. And then after that, you have Bran back in time, and then he has to warg into Hodor. Hodor gets up, and he carries them out, shuts the door behind him. And I think this was the moment where even I was like, this is sad as shit. They did this perfect. They did this scene, this reveal to wear Hodor's name, they did it to perfection, in my opinion. It was as if he warged into him, but it interfered with Hodor back in the day. Oh, it was so epic the way it played out. And then you have him saying, hold the door, hold the door. The girl was saying it, and then he was saying it, and then he's screaming it in the past. And then they did that wonderful, perfect blend where hold the door became Hodor. I'm watching this. I'm glued to the screen. I'm loving it. When you get a reveal, sometimes you're worried that it's not going to be that cool. And I was kind of worried it was going to be like a bump in the head, an arrow to the face. I mean, something gets kicked in the head with a horse. I don't know. I'm worried it's something stupid or lame. And then when they show it, I was even choked up a little bit. There was just something about it. I mean, if you look at Hodor, and I think this is what got to me the most, is the fact that he was innocent. I mean, from what we've seen, he went from being an innocent kid, and that is what caused him to lose his ability to speak. And I can't remember him doing anything evil, so he was pretty much an innocent victim throughout this whole thing. I mean, it's tragic. I know it's tragic and terrible, but I just loved it. It's 6 seasons. 6 seasons we've been using his nickname as Hodor, because that's all he says. And it's as if that horrific moment, because Bran was warged into him as he was dying, that moment of death was so horrific. Hold the door in the moment of death. He was somehow linked to himself in the past. I mean, oh shit. I don't know. 6 seasons. That's all I gotta say. This moment, I can't even put into words how just epic, awesome, and perfect this moment was for something so little as just having your nickname, not being able to speak, and connecting that into a guy holding a fucking door. I mean, loved it. Oh man. Feel free to give me your thoughts and opinions. What did you think about this episode of Game of Thrones? Put those down in the comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn. Subscribe now.